am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my classroom here in Salt Lake City. So put away your mobile phones, put away your coronavirus. Topical. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is Raw, and this is Graded. We kick things off with a recap of Edge's return at the Rumble, his return to Raw last week, and Randall Keith's despicable attack, leading Edge to be carted away to the nearest local medical facility. The crowd are booing their little heads off as voices hits, and out comes Mr. Stinky Hands himself. And you know what? If this video is half the length that it normally is, that's because Randy Orton killed about an hour just getting to the ring. Randy stands there. He stands there some more, and then he stands a bit more. And then he goes up top, he's going to do his signature pose. We all want to see it, but no, can't be bothered. So he gets back down and he stands there. And then he stands there. And you see where I'm going with this? He's very good at standing. So after 5 or so minutes of this, he finally raises the microphone to his lips and he says, "I guess I owe everybody an explanation. You see the thing?" And then he can't get his words out. He doesn't know what to say, so he stands there a bit more. And he does some more standing, and then he stands, and he stands, and he stands, and he stands, and then he goes, "I can't do this," and he buggers off. That's your lot. By the time this all ends, including all the video packages and all that sort of stuff, we're like 15 minutes almost into the show, and we've learned nothing at all. But I'm not going to complain, not one bit. This feud is undoubtedly going all the way to WrestleMania, so I think it would be foolish for WWE to have Randy Orton reveal his motive for the attack so early on. I've seen some people call WWE out on this, saying that they've failed to capitalize on the hottest angle in the company by having Randy Orton say nothing. But I think I disagree, because I'm as invested as I was last week, if not more so. Like now, I'm really hungry to hear Randy Orton give his justification for the attack on Edge. I hesitated about giving this a really high grade because, let's face it, Randy Orton didn't do much at all, but that's the reason that I liked it. It's fundamental heel work 101. Don't give the audience what they want, and then they'll want it even more. And I think that's exactly what happened here. I mentioned earlier that this took almost 15 minutes for it to play out in its entirety, but I will also add that at no point did this drag. It was sort of reminiscent of Roman's Raw After Mania promo. Remember when he beat The Undertaker, and then he came to the ring, and every time he lifted the microphone to his mouth, the crowd would boo him relentlessly, and then he gave the best promo of his career. 5 words, "This is my yard now." It was fantastic. This was similar in the way that we're so captivated, we're so desperate to hear what Orton has to say. It's just enjoyable television anyway. So a very strong start to Raw indeed. That gets an A, but will this next segment? Spoiler, no, because it's Liv Morgan versus Lana in a rematch from last week. The bell rings, and then Liv Morgan, things start off hot, she attacks Lana, but Lana collapses to the floor and starts selling her wrist. She's going, "Oh no, I've hurt my wrist, get me a doctor," but it was all a ruse, and then she awkwardly attacks Liv Morgan and seizes control. She beats down Liv for a bit, really healing it up, shouting, "I'm the best wrestler in the world," but it doesn't last long, this one at all. Liv Morgan out of nowhere nails that middle rope DDT, 1, 2, 3, and that's your lot. So this would have got a D, maybe a D+, because let's face it, it was just a little bit crap, but I'm bringing that all the way up to a very average C because of what happened after the match. So Liv's in the ring, she's celebrating, when all of a sudden, Ruby Riott's music hits. She comes out, they're both grinning ear to ear. The Riott Squad are back together. No, they're not. Ruby Riott just floors Liv Morgan, starts laying into her, and then the segment ends with Lana hitting the X Factor on Liv Morgan. The Riott Squad are not getting back together. The focal point here at the end isn't Ruby's return, it's very much Lana, so I don't see this feud ending anytime soon, unfortunately. Personally, I think this return would have been better last week without the unnecessary rematch. I'm willing to give it a chance, but I just don't want this Liv Morgan-Lana stuff to continue anymore because it's just bad. It's just bad. And Ruby Riott might be dragged into something which is already bad, and that lowers her stock, which I think is a shame because Ruby Riott is fantastic, but time will tell. Up next, it's time for Mojo Rawley, accompanied by his new offensive lineman Riddick Moss, to challenge Drew McIntyre. And I think we all know where this is going. Drew thanks Salt Lake City for fighting through the blizzard and making it to the arena tonight. And WWE were doing this quite a lot. Like, they had little video packages showing just how bad the blizzard was and sort of making excuses for the pretty poor turnout, which they did hide well with the camera angles, but it was certainly down on what it should have been. It's nothing to do with the fact that their programming's not always that good. Whatever, he goes on to say that, hey, Mojo, when the bell rings, it's going to be 3, 2, 1, Claymore, and that's you done, mate. But before he gets there, he talks about Brock Lesnar and how he's going to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. And then the bell does ring, Claymore, and true to his word, Drew McIntyre defeats Mojo Rawley in about 4 seconds, maybe. Oh. Quick note before we talk about the result of the match. I really like the fact that the Claymore is being presented as a truly devastating finishing maneuver. I'm all for that. I hope nobody kicks out of it all the way to WrestleMania. And in fact, I hope he beats Brock Lesnar with 1 Claymore, because quite often WWE, well, they have a habit of sort of ruining finishes with lots and lots of kickouts all the time. Present the Claymore as the thing that always finishes the match. I'm all for that. The result of the match, and this isn't just because I'm Mojo Rawley's biggest fan, although there was somebody in the crowd last night with a sign that said Mojo's only fan. So I guess me and that guy are destined to be best friends forever. Give me a call. I don't like the result because this could have been anyone else on the lower end of the card on Raw. This could have been Eric Young, who wrestled later. This could have just been anyone. No Way Jose, whoever, doesn't matter. Mojo Rawley's just got his offensive lineman in Riddick Moss. That happened last week, and what's Riddick Moss done? Absolutely nothing. We've not been given any reason for this partnership being a thing, and it just seems really ineffective because the partnership clearly isn't working already. Just give him some wins. Have Riddick Moss do anything. I've read reports that he suffered a concussion last week, so maybe that's the reason why, but just do it with anyone other than Mojo Rawley. It doesn't help anyone. Whatever your feelings on Mojo Rawley are, you know mine. This was pointless, so it gets a C. Sorry, Drew. And Mojo. Sorry, Mojo. And Riddick. And the guy in the crowd who really likes Mojo too. 6-man elimination tag team action up next. It's the AOP and Buddy Murphy taking on Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders. Eric and Buddy Murphy start things off, and then there's just lots of quick tags between the babyface team, allowing for some nice legal double team offense, and generally just a really enjoyable match here. Later on in the match, Ivar goes for a crossbody on the outside, but misses, goes shoulder first into the LED screen, and they do that thing where it goes all like staticky and like there's errors, despite the fact that's not how it would behave if that actually happened, whatever. Also on the outside, Eric is then cornered by Seth Rollins, eats a curb stomp, Eric gets thrown back in the ring and pinned by Buddy Murphy. Eric has been eliminated. Ivar, still on the outside, is then told by referees, no, you can't continue, and it's down to 1 versus 3. Kevin Owens versus Buddy Murphy and both members of AOP. The heels then quickly do their best to put Kevin Owens to bed, not literally, but Kevin Owens will not stay down. He's kicking out of pinfall attempts, these big flurries of offense. Kevin Owens taking control for brief periods, and I love the story here. This is what makes Kevin Owens, as a babyface, very easy to root for. It makes him feel like a star, a guy who will never give up. A little bit later on again, Owens Mania is running wild. He manages to catch Buddy Murphy, hoist him up, pop-up powerbomb, 1, 2, 3, and it's down to 2-on-1. Then, less than a minute later, he grabs Aiken, hits him with a stunner, and it is down to 1-on-1. Kevin Owens versus Razor. Go on, Kev! And at this point, Seth Rollins is starting to panic. On the outside of the ring, he tries to hype up Razor, and he's slapping him. He's going, go and get him. So he runs in the ring, but Kevin Owens immediately outsmarts him, hits him with a cannonball and a great senton for a wonderful near fall. Then comes the finish, and I thought this was handled fantastically. Kevin Owens, in a real show of strength, despite the fact that he's ruddy knackered, he's desperate to win this thing. He hoists Razor up in a fireman's carry position, but Seth Rollins gets up and he distracts the referee, allowing Razor to get out of that, and then he nails him with a big lariat, and then a bigger spine buster, and then a bigger second spinebuster to end the match. Kevin Owens losing, but what a performance. I thought this was class. It gets an A-. Even in defeat, Kevin Owens looks like the ballsiest wrestler in the world, and the only reason that he didn't win is because of that sneaky Seth Rollins. It's performances like this that are going to make us root for Kevin Owens even more. Sure, he didn't win last night, but next week we'll be cheering even louder, and a nice touch by WWE. After the match, Kevin Owens is left on his own in the ring, and they did the slow zoom out as the whole arena stands and applauds Kevin Owens. The guy's a star. Aleister Black is out next. Remember last week when he got on the mic and he said, now I'm going to start picking my own fights. Well, surely he's going to make an impact this week. Who's he going to pick? Is it going to be The Big Show? Is it going to be The Undertaker? Is it going to be Brock Lesnar? Imagine that. No. Speaking of impact, it's Eric Young. Good choice. Aleister Black kicks him for a bit. He knees him for a bit. Poor Eric Young gets busted open, his mouth's bleeding a fair amount. Whatever, Black Mass, we all knew it was coming. That's your lot, and this gets a C. After last week's promo, I had high hopes for Aleister Black on this week's Raw, so immediately it was underwhelming to get a match with Eric Young. No offense to Eric Young, but come on. The way this is being presented is that it's Aleister Black starting off at the bottom of the Raw roster, and he's going to work his way up through the Raw roster and then make his way to the top. If that happens, great. And that's the way it should happen, really, isn't it? But there's something that tells me, this just reeks of WWE still not really knowing what to do with the guy. I hope I'm proved wrong here. I truly do. But something tells me that I won't be. Anyway, yes, this gets a C. Humberto Carrillo is out next, and his opponent is none other than his own damn cousin, Angel Garza. Angel is introduced by Zelina Vega, and instantly I just loved this. I was really worried that the Humberto Carrillo Andrade storyline would just sort of trail off for a month following Andrade's suspension. So this was really refreshing to see. Just classic heel manager tactics, mind games, an easy to invest in storyline that just got me immediately hooked. This will, at the very least, tide things over until Andrade can make his return to Raw, but hopefully it ends up meaning a lot more than that. Angel was great on the mic, by the way. He just starts running down Humberto, saying that, hey, I'm Angel, I'm the leader of the family, you need to listen to me. And then Humberto grabs the mic and he snatches it. I'm thinking, yes, that intensity is still there from last week. That belly fire is a-growing. Humberto starts responding, but he doesn't get to say much before Zelina Vega slaps him in the face, and then Angel Garza pounces. And this was great. He's laying in the blows. He's choking him at one point, and then he hits him with the wing clipper, but it doesn't look like he's done yet. Humberto is then dragged to the outside, tossed into the ring steps as Zelina Vega removes the mats, exposing the bare concrete, and it looks like Humberto Carrillo is about to be drilled into the concrete by his cousin Angel Garza. A nice little callback to last week. I like it a lot. But Rey Mysterio's music hits and he comes out and makes the save. We go to break, and then when we come back, we've got ourselves a match. Rey Mysterio versus Angel Garza, and what a fun match this was. Just some lovely sequences and spots. I'm not going to try and list off every move that was hit during this one because that would be boring, and my memory isn't that good. There was a nice little moment where Angel Garza extends his hand. He's looking for a handshake from Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio knows better. And so Angel Garza rips off the pants and throws them into Rey Mysterio's face. Really like that too. There's lots more lovely back and forth, but I'm just going to stop here for 1 second and tell you what you already know, and that is that Rey Mysterio is the absolute man, isn't he? He really is a consummate professional who brings out the best in every opponent that he steps in the ring with. He moves like he's a 20-year-old. He's very much not a 20-year-old anymore, but a guy who's just able to bring out the best in anyone. He really, really cares still. He made Angel Garza look even better than Angel Garza normally looks, and that's saying something because Garza's fantastic. Rey Mysterio is just the man. He's just the man. Anyway, enough wanking off Rey Mysterio. Let's get to the finish. Rey Mysterio dials up the 619. It looks like he's going to hit it, but Zelina Vega drags Angel Garza away from the ropes outside the ring. So Rey Mysterio goes and he dives over the top rope, nailing Angel Garza, and then he gets in Zelina Vega's face. He's confronting her when all of a sudden Angel blindsides him from behind. He drags him over to the already exposed concrete, bang, drops Rey Mysterio back. It was sick in the best possible way. It's a DQ win for Rey Mysterio, but he doesn't look like a winner. This gets an A-. The pre-match stuff was great because it presented Angel Garza as a big deal right off the bat. The match itself was great because it presented Angel Garza as one of the top cruiserweights in the company, and the post-match stuff was brilliant because it presented Angel Garza as a disgusting bastard. A wonderful segment for sure, one of my favorites on the show. Out next is Charlotte Flair, who is here to reveal her WrestleMania opponent. Maybe. She runs down her options. She's got Becky Lynch or she's got Bayley. But the problem is, she's held the Raw Women's title loads of times. Remember? She's also held the SmackDown Women's title loads of times. Remember? And then the crowd see where this is going and they start chanting for Rhea Ripley, and before long, here is the woman herself. Out comes the NXT Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. Rhea's like, yeah, you won the Rumble and you've beaten Bayley and you've beaten Becky Lynch, but there's one woman that you haven't beaten, and that woman is me. In fact, I've beaten you. So, at WrestleMania, well, and Charlotte doesn't say a thing. She just leaves the ring and gets out of there. And that is your lot for this segment, and I am a big fan of this too. It gets a B+. Regardless of your feelings about Charlotte Flair and how strongly she's booked, imagine just how great it will be for Rhea Ripley to defeat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. That will be a star-making performance, and actually, I have every hope that that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that's where WWE are going with this, because I can't imagine Charlotte Flair going to NXT. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think this is all to build to the future of the women's division, Rhea Ripley, who is brilliant. I really hope I'm right here. Asuka versus Natalya is up next, and even though there wasn't much reason for this match happening, it was far more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. A really strong match. The two start scrapping it out, each woman going for various submission attempts. Natalya hitting some big power moves last night. She hit a great sit-down powerbomb, a discus clothesline. At one point, she gets nailed in the jaw hard with a kick by Asuka, but keeps on trucking. Fair play, Natalya. Asuka with some more inventive submission attempts of her own, but Natalya just powering out again and again. And you know what? This match could have been such a throwaway, forgettable match, but both women really gave it their all last night. It's like they knew that nobody would really care that much about the match itself, so they went all out, and it was a great match as a result of that. Toward the end of the match, Natalya manages to lock in the sharpshooter, but Asuka just claws to the ropes, and then Kairi Sane distracts Natalya, allowing Asuka to apply the Asuka lock, and Natalya is forced to tap out. Asuka is your winner. As I say, enjoyed this far more than I thought I would. It gets a B+, just super physical throughout. After the match, Asuka grabs a mic and calls out Becky Lynch. Becky comes out, and she's wearing, you know, the meme glasses, the meme sunglasses, the pixel shine on them. She's wearing those now. This has divided the office. Half of the guys think it's cool AF, and then half of the guys think this is cringe AF, and I'm very much in the cringe AF category, sorry. Becky's like, yeah, I'm up for it, but why would I possibly put my title on the line before WrestleMania? Well, Becky, because we've got 3 completely unnecessary pay-per-views to sell. Think about that, you idiot. Anyway, she's up for it. Of course she is. She loves to fight. From behind, Kairi Sane tries to attack Becky Lynch, but Becky has eyes in the back of her head. Next week, she'll be wearing the sunglasses on the back of her head, because she used that line. That's what's going to happen. Maybe. That'll be cool. Anyway, yeah, she attacks Kairi Sane. She gets her out of the ring. Becky Lynch stands tall. I can't say I'm too excited about Asuka versus Becky again, because I think it's a bit of a predictable result. And I'm just frustrated with the way that Asuka has been booked on the main roster. Still am. Whatever. Main event time, and this is to decide who will challenge Brock Lesnar for the title at Super ShowDown. It's a triple threat match. Bobby Lashley versus Seth Rollins versus Ricochet. They've all said throughout the night in various backstage interviews that they are definitely going to win and challenge Brock Lesnar for the title. Seth Rollins gets on the mic before for a nice little promo, basically just saying that, yeah, he's gonna win, he's gonna beat Brock, and then it's gonna be him versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. The bell rings and Bobby Lashley almost immediately gets thrown out of there, which allows Seth Rollins and Ricochet to go at it, various quick pinfall attempts. Later on, Bobby Lashley gets back in there and he starts dominating Ricochet, but Ricochet quickly gets the upper hand hand and takes out both Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins on the outside with some lovely little dives. Later on again, Buddy Murphy and the AOP run out. Buddy Murphy pushes Ricochet off the top rope. The AOP concentrate on Bobby Lashley, trying to take the big man out of the match, so Seth definitely wins and gives us Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar at Super ShowDown for the title. You love to see it. Seth's mates then start targeting Ricochet, but before they can do any real damage, out runs Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders to make the save, and then all of Seth's mates and the good guys, they're scrapping all over the place. They end up brawling through the crowd back to the match. Bobby Lashley's recovered, Ricochet's still alright, Seth Rollins, probably the freshest man just because he hasn't been beaten down, but any man could win this, and that's what I really liked about it, is that I genuinely didn't know who was going to win this one. I could have seen WWE going with any of the three options, so it made it more exciting to watch. However, the man who did win the thing is that Trevor man. Ricochet nailing the 630 on Bobby Lashley, and he wins, and he's going to go on to face Brock Lesnar at Super ShowDown. But before he can celebrate, outruns Brock Lesnar, nails him with an F5, and stands tall to close the show. Again, another enjoyable match which gets a B+. I'm not quite sure what to make of Brock Lesnar's appearance at the end. I don't think I liked it. That sounds stupid because I'm always complaining about Brock not turning up, and when he does, I whinge. But should Brock really care about laying out little Ricochet? I know they've got history and everything, but I didn't think it was especially in fitting with Brock's character. Whatever. I'm whinging. I'm whinging for the sake of it. A very good match indeed, and I'm very happy with the result. Ricochet is obviously going to get ruined at Super ShowDown. There's no question about that. However, we might see some pretty fun, pretty inventive spots because of the size difference, if Brock Lesnar can be asked. We certainly didn't want to see Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar again. That makes no sense at all. And Bobby Lashley, I want to see that match still. I do want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, but they haven't built Bobby up at this point to be a credible threat to Brock Lesnar, and I think this was the right choice given the three men involved. Overall, this episode of Raw gets a B+. There was some guff on the show, that's for sure. Pray for Mojo. But there were some really good matches. Asuka versus Natalya, the six-man tag, Angel Garza versus Rey Mysterio, the main event, all really good stuff. And you know what? I'm actually quite enjoying Raw at the moment. It's certainly better than SmackDown at this point, despite the extra hour. I was about to stop the camera and just realised I haven't done a joke, and I forgot to write a joke. So, how do you look for Will Smith in the snow? You look for Fresh Prince. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.